boat up a little bit. We left the marina at Bundaberg this morning around about 9:30 I guess, and we've just come up the river half a mile and anchored up the other side of the sugar sheds. Wind's still puffing a bit, it's up around 25 to 30 knots, so a bit too much for us. We're going to wait till tomorrow. It should drop off probably 10 knots, and might be a nice little day for making the trip up to Pancake. The seminar went well last night. We had a turn up of about 10 people. They all enjoyed it and said that they gleaned a lot of information from it, so that was good. And we had a pretty good week in Bundy, met up with a lot of old cruisers and old friends, so it was all good fun. But it's good to be out of the marina again, hanging off the pick, and we'll probably spend a few weeks out now, so we'll see how we go. But the first thing is the 10-hour trip up the Pancake Creek, and hopefully we'll leave on daylight tomorrow morning and head up there. There's a fine boat with the hulls the same as Peggy-Anne anchored just next to us in Bundaberg. Bruce and Bev on Just Us are having a bit of fun relocating a dinghy davit. We catch up and they'll probably come over for dinner tonight. Well, I've got friends coming over for dinner tonight. My last night in Bundy. I think I'm going to go early in the morning. And I'm just cooking a bit of stew for dinner. In the trusty Dream Pot. So we'll see how it turns out. Okay, just checking the weather for tomorrow morning. We've been up the river here in Bundy for 2 days now, but I think tomorrow morning is going to be good as far as the wind goes. It's around to the southeast and a bit lighter than it was this morning. The downside of that is I think I'm going to leave at around about midnight just to get the tide out of the bay. We'll pick up a knot or two on that, and probably get up to 1770 or Pancake Creek around about 10 o'clock in the morning. I think I'm going to head for 1770 and head in there. It's a great little spot. I need a few veggies and things, so I can do a little bit of shopping from there. But yeah, we'll probably go to 1770 and then skip up to Pancake maybe the next day, or maybe wait for the weather at 1770. Anyhow, decisions we have to make, but yeah, it looks like a pretty early start in the morning, so it'll be dark leaving the river and getting out into Hervey Bay. Well, it's pretty dark out here. We just got off the leads out of Bundy, and we left at about 11 o'clock. The breeze is east-southeast, and at this angle we're only just holding the sail, but we're getting a bit of a lift off it. We'll run on this course just to clear the spoil ground off Bundy, and then we'll set up a course for 1770. Should be there, I'd say, about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Well, the wind's left us, so I furled the sail up, and we're just keeping a bit of a lookout now. Still doing 5.5 knots, so it's not too bad. A bit of a tide there, I'd say, but it would be better with a bit of wind. But anyway, if it ain't there, it ain't there. Nothing on the radar, so we're clear for 8 nautical miles in front of us, and we're pretty well on course. Got another 6 hours to go. All good. Let's Roundhill Head. You can see behind me 1770, the entrance is just on the other side. It's a pretty shallow entrance and you've got to use a bit of tide to get in and out. So I've been looking at the weather and looking at when the tide changes, and I've decided we're not going to go into 1770 on the way up. We'll push on to Busted Head and Pancake Creek, another couple of hours, but we've got the wind from behind. We're skipping along at about 6 knots, so the speed's good, and I think if I get in there we might just get stuck there for a week or so with the weather and not being able to cross the bar. So we'll go up to Pancake and make that our home for a little while. We might have to visit 1770 on the way back south. Pretty pleasant out here though, it's nice. Well, the wind shifted a bit and I'm just going to drive the sail across so we can hold our course for Busted Head. A little bit complicated, but not too bad. Well, that took about 5 minutes to drive that sail across, and it's giving us an extra knot, so definitely worthwhile. Pick up a bit off the wind, and it keeps the motion nicer too. Beautiful day. Okay, the sail's all stowed and we've just altered course to come around Clues Point and into Pancake Creek. We just came inside the outer rocks and inner rocks. You've got to be careful doing that. At night time I'd probably come around the outer rocks, but fine day like this, not too bad. And now we've just got to line up the marks and head into Pancake. People will be wanting to go ashore, no doubt. Well, we're anchored up in Pancake Creek. This will do us for a few days. The wind's still coming from the southeast, but it's going to come in from the north, and we get a fair bit of cover from, there's a bit of a point there and a few sandbanks, so especially at low tide, gets you out in your northerly coming up the creek a little bit. Where the moorings are, a little bit exposed out there, and I think I'd rather be on anchor sometimes. I trust it more than I do a mooring, but anyway, Pancake Creek for a few days. First job, get Pip ashore, I guess. Come on, Pip. Come on, you deaf old hound. Come on. Well, this is our fourth day in Pancake Creek, and we've just been sitting here waiting for this northerly wind to blow itself out and go around to the south, and that's supposed to happen tomorrow. So we've got low tide at the entrance to the channel into Gladstone at around about midday, so I'm probably going to leave about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll get the tide out of here and then get the run in when we get to the shipping channel at Gladstone. So the plan is to go up into the marina for a night. We'll do a bit of shopping, clean the boat up a bit. Doesn't need much of a clean up. I've been sort of cleaning it as I go, but we'll do a bit of shopping. I need to get a few supplies, and then we'll head up through the Narrows to Sea Hill. That's all good. It's been good here for 4 days. You're out on the wind. It's a great anchorage because even though it's northerly and blowing straight in here, there's a bit of a sandbank that comes out of the water at low tide behind me, and it gives you pretty good protection from the northerlies, and they've been pretty brisk. I'd say up around 25 a lot of the time, so it's been quite comfortable in here. And a bit to do. You can walk up to the lighthouse, and the sandbank's great for taking the dog ashore and going for a walk, so there's a few little things to do, and we've had a pretty great time. But anyway, the weather's going to tell us it's time to move tomorrow, so we'll work the tides, get out of here and head up to Gladstone. Well, change of plan again. I was going to wait till about 10 o'clock this morning and head up to Gladstone, but the wind's going to get up to about 30 knots by lunchtime, so I'm leaving early. It's 8 o'clock now. It'll get me up there a bit early, but what I'm going to do is just sneak up, hide around the other side of Flora Peninsula. That'll get me out of the southeaster, and then I'll wait for the tide to be flooding, and then I'll skip across Rod Harbour, and I think we're going to go to the Boyne, and we'll anchor up in the Boyne. So you've got to be a bit flexible when you're cruising, because the weather really does dictate what you're going to do if you want to do it comfortably. So yeah, we're going to get going a little bit earlier. I'll get some good protection under Flora Point, and yeah, we'll wait till a bit later to get into the Boyne. I don't think it'll be too bad out here. We'll be able to get a bit of sail out and motor sail down on this. I think it'll be pretty good, but 30 knots is probably a little bit too much. Lots of big patches of coral spawn out here at the moment. Really discolours the surface of the water. Sometimes you look at them and think, oh, that looks awful shallow, but there's plenty of depth there. It's just the coral spawn floating on the surface. Starting to see a few ships on the horizon now, just waiting to go in and use the port at Gladstone. So it gets pretty busy in the shipping channel. You've got to watch it when you're heading up into the port. Hope you can see that. There was heaps of flying fish around, probably up eating the coral. Don't often see them, but around today, eh? Fly a long way too. Well, this is Flora Point at the north end of Rod Peninsula. It's a great little beach, some good oysters on the rocks here too. But I don't know, there's a little bit of swell running in at the moment, and might make it a little bit hard to get ashore. We'll have to have a look at it. I'll try and get Pip over later, but we'll see how we go. We're going to be here for about probably 4 hours, just waiting for the tide to finish running out and start running in again. We'll probably leave around about 2 o'clock this afternoon. But anyway, it gets us out of the wind, and quite a pleasant place to be for a few hours, just a bit of a rest. Cup of tea time now, I think. Well, it's blowing about 30 knots at the moment, I think, as forecast, but it's from the southeast, and it was a bit hard to get on the beach at Flora Point, or I might have stayed there the night, but the tide's all right for getting into the Boyne. I think it'll be a bit more comfortable in there, so we'll run over and check out how much water there is on the little bar there, and run in and be a bit more comfy. Might stay there for a couple of days while I do some shopping and maybe get some water on. The wind's quite strong, but it's from behind us, so it's not too bad on the boat. I'm not going to bother with any sail, it's a bit strong for that, and we're probably going to be there in a couple of hours anyway. So. Well, that was a little bit of fun. Pretty shallow on that bar actually. We got down to a bit under 2 metres coming in. So good to have the very shallow draft on this boat. But anyway, it's good to be in the Boyne and anchored up. We're out of the wind now, and it's always nice to get in out of the wind. And we've got a little pontoon over here where we can tie the dinghy up, go up and do our shopping. Might even try and go over and get a bit of water a bit later on. We'll just see how we go. But anyway, good to be in. Bit of fun getting in. A little bit rough out on that bar. Blowing about 25 to 30, I suppose. Well, we've been here for a couple of weeks now, and it's time to go and resupply. So I just asked directions from a guy off the jetty there, and he said that there's a Woolies a couple of k's up the road here. So we're just going to shoot up there and do a bit of shopping. Beautiful. Okay, well we got the Woolies all right. I always like to bring the fold up trolley when I go shopping, especially if I've got to do a little bit. But makes it a bit easier. How easy is that? Okay, the shopping's done. The trolley's loaded up, and we just got to walk back to the boat. Thank God for the trolley. Well, this is a great little anchorage. It's only about 1 kilometre from the boat up to where you do the shopping. So I've been to Woolies, done all the grocery shopping, and had to walk past the McDonald's on the way back, so I just got to stop in and have a cup of coffee. Boyne River's a great spot to come in and resupply. The shops aren't that far away. Be careful on that bar coming in a southeaster. It's pretty ordinary.
There you go.
Thank you.
You enjoy.
No worries, thanks. And look at this, bit of morning tea, beautiful. Well, we're back from the shopping, and while we're away, a swallow got into the cabin and it's crapped in about 300 different places. So I've just been going around cleaning all that up, and there were a lot of flies on the boat yesterday, so I'm going to have to do a few chores. I'm going to have to clean the windows, but I'm going to have to vacuum. And before I left on this trip, I bought myself a Dyson vacuum cleaner. I think one of the best things I put on the boat lately. I think every boat should have one. They're quite expensive, but they're a good vacuum, some good attachments, and just handy not having the hose and the lead to drag around all over the boat. So you can use it as a short one. Get rid of some of Pip's hairs. And then it's got an extension you can put on for doing the floors. So a very handy machine.